Happy New Year. Thank you for tuning in to Voice of Reason Boston. My name is Tamisha Civil. I am your host. We are in 2021. We left a terrible year behind, and we are so grateful for those who have the opportunity to come into 2021 with a new focus. This morning on our show, we have a special guest. Her name is Candice Jackson. Candice is the owner of the Year of the Unicorn. So we're going to listen to Candice. We're going to get to know her. And she's also going to help us understand the importance of focusing on our goals and how to keep motivated and how for us to focus on our vision. What is it that we are inspired to do? What is it that we want to do? And where do we go from here? So this morning we have Candice Jackson. Candice, thank you so much for coming on Voice of Reason Boston. How are you doing?
I'm good. Thanks for having me. I'm so excited to be here.
I'm so excited that you are here, and we want to hear from you and learn more about the Year of the Unicorn. And just introduce yourself and tell me a little bit about yourself so our viewers could get to know you and as well as understand where you want to go with this.
Yeah, so my name is Candice. I recently started the Year of the Unicorn. It's actually been like years in the making. Something that I had, like an idea that I had for a really long time, and I was too scared to start.
Right.
But with 2020 and the shutdown, I was kind of like in a position to go for it. And I got pushed past my comfort zone. And I started the Year of the Unicorn. It started off as a blog to share other people's stories. And then the more information I was sharing on the website, the more people want it. So now I'm transitioning into adding courses and interviews with people, and it's growing into this beautiful thing that I love working on. As an entrepreneur, it's like so much work. But this is the first time where I'm working on something where I can't imagine not working on it.
And so, we talk about the Year of the Unicorn, those who are tuning in and listening on Facebook or even on Instagram. What is that? How did you get the name? What is it? How it started? Can you tell us a little bit more about that?
Yeah, so I'll start with the name. I used to be embarrassed by the name, to tell you the truth. So around 2016, I had graduated from my bachelor in undergrad in photography. I was studying art, and I kind of like felt super lost. When I initially graduated, I had gotten into grad school, and that was my plan. But 2 weeks into grad school, I had to drop out, and suddenly this plan that I had for my life fell apart. I felt super lost, and I felt like at the core of me being lost was the fact that I didn't know what I wanted to do for a living or what direction my career was going in. Even though so many other areas of my life was the issue, I thought it was just my career. So I sought the help of a career coach, and I worked for her for 3 months to kind of get a grasp on things. And at the end of our time together, she said, you've made great progress, and I'd like you to pick a theme for your year moving forward so you can be focused on what you want for your life and use that as like a guiding light as you move forward after our time together. And she said, make a sign and hang up on your bedroom wall so you see it all the time. And I decided I wanted my year to be the Year of the Unicorn because I wanted everything to be magical. I wanted the unexpected to happen. I wanted it to be unique and special. And I joke and I tell people, like, I wanted to feel like I was walking around and glitter was being like thrown around me every time I went to the streets. At the time, my life felt the opposite of that. It was dark. I was depressed. I was anxious. So the Year of the Unicorn was just me choosing the opposite of that. I went to that last appointment with her, and she asked me, so what did you choose for your theme? And I was too embarrassed to tell her that because I was like, I'm a grown woman. Like, I'm talking about unicorns to this career coach. Like, so I told her it was going to be the Year of Restoration, and it ended up being what I needed. But I always had that phrase, the Year of the Unicorn, stuck in my head, the year.
Right.
So fast forward, I wanted to start a blog. I had gone from that depressed period. And besides seeking the help of a career coach and other professionals, I started to reach out to certain contacts and ask them, like, how did you find your way within your career? How did you find your way in life, like your thing? And I would have these conversations with people who I saw as super, super successful, right? And the funny thing was, a lot of the times during that conversation, they would say something to me like, well, I wish I was doing what you were doing. I
Right.
spoke to one woman, she was a CEO of a company, and she bought this big, just recently, this big vacation home, I think in the Vineyard or something. And she said, like, well, I wish I went to art school and not business school. Like, and I realized, like, there's so much power in having conversations with people because
Right.
we get to see how human we are, right? And
Mm-hmm.
I wanted to share those conversations. And when I decided I wanted to share the conversations, I wanted to start a blog. And I was like, what can I name it? And that phrase, the year of the unicorn, came up again. Like, I want it to be this magical thing. So that's how it started, and that's where the name came from.
And for young people who are listening into and tuning in and listening to what you have to say, how important is it to take a leap of faith? Like, fear is my number one thing, and I'm trying to get over. I'm trying to move away from it. But what can people learn from you, especially young people who want to take that leap of faith, but they're so scared to take it?
Yeah.
And just being their true self and just being able to go for what they really want. What do you have to say to them?
Yeah, so it's funny. I was watching this documentary. I don't know what it's called, but there are these like modern day gladiator fighters in Italy somewhere, right? They once a year, they're only allowed to do this once a year because what they do is so dangerous. They get into this ring, there's like multiple sides, and they basically like fight. Like, that's the sport. And then they're fighting for their town, and it's very aggressive, very violent. And they were interviewing one of the guys, and they were like, well, how do you feel when you go into the ring? Because he's like big and he's buff and he's gonna go fight in this ring. And he was like, I feel afraid, but I do it anyway. I do it with the fear. And I think that's something that we can feel guilty about. Like, I want to do X, Y, and Z, but I'm afraid to do it, but I'm nervous to do it. And the trick
Mm.
is to say to yourself, acknowledge, I'm nervous, I'm afraid, I'm not sure how people are going to react, I'm not sure what this is going to do for me, but I'm going to do it anyway, despite that hesitation, despite that fear. And to acknowledge I'm human. To feel afraid and nervous is normal. This is supposed to happen, right? But it doesn't
Right.
have to stop me.
And I looked at your website, I looked at your courses and all the aspirations that you have. And one thing that stuck with me is, we left a crazy year, which was 2020. Now we're in 2021. What do you mean when you say New Year resolution needs a change? What
Yeah.
do you mean by that?
Yeah. So, I mean, it's crazy because 2020 was so packed. And I tell people, for me, 2020 had so many highs and so many
Right.
lows, right? But a lot of the heavier lows came towards the end of the year for me. And I was just thinking, like, I was talking to one of my friends, and I was like, I don't think it's like having a resolution is productive right now because we have
Right.
all this weight on us from 2020. If we enter 2021 feeling like I have to figure this out, I have to have answers, I
Mhm.
have to do, and I have to have. I think that's the wrong sentiment to have. We have realized in 2020 that wanting to have things and do things, there's a lot more to that. We should focus on how do we want to feel, because that's something that we can control. And once we focus on how do I want to feel, then all of a sudden you're going to align with the right things that you want to have and the right things that you want to do. When we do resolutions, a lot of the time we're reverse engineering it. I think we're thinking about the materializing of something, or the condition of something, instead of thinking about how that's actually going to make me feel, right?
Yeah.
And a lot of people in 2020 had to sit with their lives and say, like, actually, this isn't feeling too great for me the way it's set up right now. We were really
Mhm.
stuck with ourselves, right? And so I think resolutions are outdated because it's
Yeah.
not about what am I going to accomplish. It's about what do I want to feel.
I think you make a valid point. Reason being is because we all want to make New Year's resolution. We all have something that we want to change, but does it really change?
Yeah.
For an example, 2020, we had New Year's resolution, but boom, a pandemic happened. What we
Yeah.
wanted to change has suddenly changed to something else that we never thought would happen. And I feel that we kind of set ourselves up when we say, my New Year's resolution is ABCD.
Mm-hmm.
When you really don't need to do that, all you need to do is put your best foot forward and just do it. And I think when we it's good to put it in the atmosphere that we want to do this, but just don't say it, just actually do it. Jot down a list of goals that you want to do and just do it without telling anyone, this is what I'm going to do, especially coming into a new year. And I feel like sometimes we set ourselves up because we don't know what's going to happen. We cannot foresee the future. And if 2020 has not shown us tomorrow's not promised to us, then I don't know what else will. And I think it's important for us to actually take a leap of faith, move forward, change the negative to the positive, use the negative into something positive to help not only yourself, but those who are around you that you consider friends and family, and make the best version of you. And I think that's really important. And you made a lot of valid points when it comes to that. What
Mm-hmm.
about vision alignment? Can you explain that to me, what you mean by that?
Yeah, so visionary alignment. So I'm really big on words. Words mean a lot to me. I love books. I read a lot. I'm always researching things. So a visionary is someone who is looking to the future with both imagination and wisdom, right? And alignment is something being in its correct position. And I feel like visionary alignment, what the Year of the Unicorn is all about, is looking at yourself and the life that you want and having that image, right? Having that imagination, having the wisdom that comes from within about what's aligned with you and trying to create a life that's based off of that, right?
Mm-hmm.
So many times we create our life based on what we think we should be doing, what others want from us, what we've done for years, right? And we think that we have to stick to that plan, but we change as people. Life changes, just like you said, 2020 changed. But if we have this vision for our future, if we know what's in alignment with us and what feels good to us, no matter what changes that we go through, we'll be able to
Navigate through.
navigate
Yeah.
through. Like you said, so many things changed from 2020. You had these specific goals, but if you're aware of what's aligned with you, what feels right with you, even if the conditions change, you're going to be focused on, okay, what's going to give me this feeling of alignment, no matter if the circumstances change.
And what are some of the ways that can help us align to our vision? I know we want things, we see things, but what are some of the ways that you think that can help us align to the vision that we want to see and we want to put out in front of us?
Definitely. So another thing that's big with the Year of the Unicorn is journaling. I have been I have been journaling since before I could write. I was such an emotional child, and my mother was like, "Oh my God, like I have to figure out something to do with this child, like in her emotions." So she gave me a journal before I even know how to put sentences together, and it
Mm-hmm.
was something that I used to just dump everything out of me, right? And as I have progressed in my journey, I've realized that journaling is a great way to touch base with yourself, because we can be stuck in this like over analyzing logical mindset. And when you sit with yourself and you write pen to paper, like a free stream of writing, and you just see what comes up, you're checking in with yourself, and it helps you to realize things about yourself that you didn't know.
Right.
The dog is trying to come into the shot. But yeah, journaling is a tool. Meditation is a tool, because what meditation does is helps you to be aware. A lot of people are turned off about meditation because they feel like they have to quiet their mind and empty it. But what meditation does is you become aware of the thoughts that are happening in your mind, right?
Mm-hmm.
And when you're aware of the thoughts, you can say, do these thoughts align with the vision
With
of my life? Now
right.
I'm aware of it. I don't need to feel guilty that this thought doesn't align. I'm aware, and that's the power. Now I can focus on shifting those thoughts. So maybe I say, like, I want to be confident this year, right? And I'm meditating or I'm journaling, I'm spending time with myself, and I'm realizing I have a lot of thoughts that aren't confident. I have this thought. Now, what's the opposite of that? How can I like transform that thought to help me align with the vision I have for my life?
And again, great points. And one thing I want to add is writing, whether it's a journal or your diary or
Yeah.
even a letter to your younger self. It's funny that you said that now. 2 days ago, I put all my letters in a shoebox, and for some reason, I was going through it, and I found a letter that I wrote to myself when I was 18 years old, and I'm now 40.
Wow.
I'm now 40. I read the letter and I saw, wow, how immature or how, naive I was just writing the letter and feeling where I was and trying to put myself back into that position. Most of what I wrote are in present tense that I am doing, and some of them aren't. But I'm just, so amazed how I had this letter till this day that I can go back and read and see the differences of me when I was 18 and now that I'm 40. So it's very important for people to take the time to write a letter to themselves or have a journal and find out what it is that you want to do and go back to what you have written periodically so that you can make the necessary changes that you want. If you're in an abusive relationship, you want to write things down and be like, this is not what I want. You can go back to see the changes that you have done. A lot of women who are impacted by domestic violence or abuse or just any kind of mental psychological issues that they're facing, one way of releasing these kind of energy is by writing. And it is very important when you say journaling has been something that you have been doing. And I encourage other women to do that as well, because that is a way of releasing
Yeah.
any frustration that you may have. We all know women have issues of trusting people, sharing. We don't seek mental health professionals because we're in that position where we fear to being judged. We fear of people judging us. We don't trust anyone. And we just don't have that proper outlet to just share the problems that we're having. But journaling, writing a letter, having a diary is definitely a mechanism that women can use to release any frustration that they have. And I think it's very important for us to have these kind of conversations because as minority women,
Mhm.
we know that we usually get the end of the stick. We know that we're the last person to look at. And especially being an entrepreneur, we don't get the resources that we actually really need to help us move forward. So there's a lot of weight on our shoulders that we have, but we just need to know how to share them with other women and give other tools and resources on how to help us get through it on a daily basis.
Yeah, because I feel like a lot of the times we feel like we have to be strong. There's this narrative, especially as women of color, we
Right.
feel like we have to just push through. And you said something about like releasing. And when you're journaling and you're writing, a lot of the times when you're going through something, I've been in an a toxic relationship before, and a lot of the times you're constantly replaying things in your mind, and the simple step of just getting it out of your head and on paper,
Mm-hmm.
not only is it helping you to process, but it is literally an energetic release. So that is energy that you're holding within yourself, and you get to put that on paper and you get to let it go. And when you're not trying to figure out how can I explain this to somebody? How can I word this to someone? Maybe I'm nervous to do this. Maybe I don't know how. If it's just you and the paper, you don't have to make sense on the paper. It doesn't have to
No.
be a sentence. It doesn't have to be words. You can get the paper and just start like scribbling all over it. But giving yourself that opportunity to have an energetic and emotional release is such a powerful tool, especially if you don't feel like you're in the place to reach out for help yet.
Especially with us women, we're so strong. We put this face. We may be having issues at home,
Yeah.
but we have that smile on our face because we don't want to be judged. Like you said, you were in a toxic relationship. I think every woman has been in a toxic relationship at some point in their life. And when to and when to find yourself to even sharing that with someone, it's hard. You can't find yourself telling one of your best friends or one of your friends or even a sister that you're going through this issue in your relationship, because you think that they would judge you. Well, you look so well put together. You're always smiling. How beautiful. I never knew you were going through this. But just for the simple fact that someone would say that to you can shut you down. And I think, this is one tool definitely that can help you release some of the mental health components that come with, being a battered woman. When I say being a battered woman, it doesn't have to be physical. It can be mental. It could be definitely mental and emotional and spiritual, because when you constantly have this one person that you so love, that you have this person that you trust, but mentally destroy you, and you can do better, you have the capability to do better, but there's just something in that mind of yours that's telling you you will not find someone else. You will not be with someone else, and you will never get what you had before. And I think that is why so many women in the relationship department get so stuck. It's not that they can't find anyone or they can't do any better. It's just that mental health component when it comes to, taking that leap of faith, just saying, I will be okay. This change is going to be better for me and my future. So these are a lot of things, Candice, that I think are very important. And you are in the path of spreading that to other women across the world. And I would love to hear some of your courses that you are working on to help women, move forward and take that leap of faith that you did.
Yeah. One quick thing before we go into that, I also want to say that to write things down, because we can be so critical of ourselves, and when we write things down, we can go back to it and celebrate how far we came. Because I was that person that was in that toxic relationship. And like you said, I didn't want to say to my friends this was happening. No one knew while I was in that relationship.
Right.
But also because I was with this person and I loved them and I cared about them. And I didn't want people to say, well, you have to leave them, or to judge that person, right? But being able to go back to those letters and see where I was, and to see where I am now, I don't just have to analyze my life. I can celebrate my wins, big and small, right?
Absolutely.
But right now, I actually am launching this week my vision board course, which is a vision board 101 course. And I almost wanted to come up with a different title for it, because on the surface, it's a vision board course, right? But it's much, much more than that. I held this master class with a group of women, and we got clear and intentional about what we wanted with our lives. And a lot of people who come together for vision boards, what I find is it's like a crafting party, which is great. And I went to art school. I love these things, right? But a vision board and manifesting through a vision board is so much more powerful than that. It's spiritual, it's energetic, it's you facing yourself, being honest with yourself. What do I want? Why do I want it? What's my motivation? And having the faith that you can actually make that happen in your life, right? So I wanted to create this vision board course and tell people that you don't have to just randomly flip through a magazine and see what pops up. Sit with yourself through journaling. In the course, we do journaling, some breath work, and meditation, and get clear about the vision you have for your life, right?
Exactly.
And then decide, okay, I believe this can actually happen. And I tell people, this is manifesting. First of all, manifesting is defined as to make evident. Again, I look up words. Manifesting is you wanting to make something evident in your life, right?
Right.
Manifesting is something that we always do from the moment we are born. And I tell people, from the moment we are born, are working with the law of gravity. We work with electricity. We work with these cell phones. We don't understand the inner workings of all of them, but we use them, right? We're always manifesting, whether we realize we're doing it or not, right? The power is knowing that you have that power within you to create a life that is in alignment with what you want, right? So I wanted to create these courses to help people get clear and intentional, to help people realize you can actually create the life that you want. When I came up with the phrase, the year of the unicorn, as a theme for my year, I was in a very dark and low place, right? Now, the vision board that I created last year, things have come true down to the exact photo.
Wow.
Exact photo. And when I was putting the course together, I was getting the pictures from the vision board and like getting photos from my life to compare it. And I was looking at the images. I was like, oh my God, it's the exact image, the exact place, like the exact things are happening. And I was so scared and shy to get in front of a camera to tell people, oh, I manifested this, right? I was nervous. But the reason that I was able to do that is because other people shared their stories and their information, and I was able to benefit from it. So I felt really inspired. Like, I have all this information, I have this experience. I want to tell people because I know that it works.
And for those who are tuning in and listening to our interview, what can you tell them about your vision board that actually came true? Because, you know, we always have these one or two people who really don't understand the importance of vision board and, you know, what it is that they're actually doing, or just cutting out piece of paper, a piece of magazines to put on a poster board. But if you can share just as much as you would like,
Yeah.
what are some of the things that you put on your vision board that you're actually experiencing for 2021?
Yeah, so this one is a big one. I just kind of was talking about this today. In the course, I talk about my first vision board that I made at 2007, in 2007, or when I was 17, actually. And I had no idea what I was doing. I just put it together. I was embarrassed. I put it under my bed. Nothing came to fruition. But on that board, right, I had this yellow house. And when I was younger, my mother was on food stamps, Section 8, welfare. We had all the government assistance, right? And we would be walking home on this street, and I would see on the way to our apartment, our Section 8 apartment, this beautiful yellow house. And I was obsessed with it. And one day, walking home, that house was for sale. And I was telling my mother, like, as a little girl, I was like, can you please buy that house? I want that house so bad, please buy it. And not as a little girl, realizing we're on Section 8, we can't afford a house right now. What are you doing? So I had put a yellow house as a 17-year-old on my vision board, because soon after I saw the house for sale, someone bought it and they painted it purple, and I got really upset. So I really wanted this yellow house. And when I originally held the masterclass for the vision board, I didn't have a yellow house, but I put in the intent, and I didn't tell people during the course, I was still working on it. I put the intention to have that house. I really got clear and intentional. And this past December, my boyfriend and I purchased our first home, and I'm like setting up the home. I'm like moving in, and I'm talking to someone who was in the course, and she sees the color of the house behind me, and she's like, Candice, you got your yellow house. And I didn't even realize that the house was yellow. Like, I was so busy with like the process of like buying the house and moving in, and I was like, I got emotional because I set this intention. This is what I wanted. I had it on my board, and now I'm actually like living in the yellow house that the younger version of me wanted as a child, and I couldn't afford it.
Wow, that's awesome. And you know, there are some misconception about the vision board. You just, you know, put something on the board and you're going to have it right away. It really doesn't work like that. For example, since as a little girl you wanted that yellow house, but fast forward now, you know, at your I would say your late 20s.
I'm at 31.
31. I'm sorry, you look so young. You still look like a baby. So in your early 30s, you are manifesting what it is that you want. So a lot of people need to understand, yes, you have a vision board, but you have to position yourself and put yourself in that position that you can receive these things that you are trying to get. You have to align yourself with your goals in order to receive what it is that you desire. So, you know, being lazy, sleeping in the bed all day is not going to help you position yourself to get what you want. So, what are some of the misconceptions about a vision board that you would like to explain to our viewers when it comes to putting one together?
Yeah, so a vision board is often seen as like a genie in a bottle. Like, I say it and boom, it's there. And the reason I tell people that it's more spiritual and energetic is you have to be able to receive these things, right?
Mm-hmm.
You know those stories about lottery winners who win the money and then like a short while after that, they're back to the same financial status they were at before they won the lottery. Now that's for a few reasons. You all of a sudden you don't have money and all of a sudden you receive all the money, right? But have you done the work internally to be able to
Mm-hmm.
go from being someone without money to energetically having money? Do you feel like
Right.
a wealthy person? Do you feel worthy of that money? Do you have fear around having that money or being able to keep it, or what's going to happen now? Am I going to lose friends? Am I going to lose family? There's so much internal work that comes with having certain things, right? So when
Mm-hmm.
you have a vision board, you're giving yourself permission to be clear and intentional, but you're realizing like with this comes a responsibility. And it's not necessarily the
Right.
responsibility of like hard work, push through, because oftentimes we feel guilty for maybe being lazy or procrastinating with something, when laziness and procrastination could be a sign of us being fearful or worried or
Right.
doubting ourselves, right? And
That we're not worthy enough to even do it. Yeah.
yeah, we put this shame and this weight on us when we don't really have to. So when you're doing a vision board, you're gonna be, if you really want to charge it and with the true intentions, there's inner work that has to be done. So I'm gonna put on this board a healthy, happy relationship. You know, someone who used to be in a toxic relationship. But then I have to be aware of, okay, when I have this on the board, what comes up in my mind? When in my original board that I made with that yellow house, I had a happy couple on that board.
Yeah.
But I said, I want to be in this happy relationship with this specific person, right? I had this specific person in mind for it. And whenever I looked at the board, I had that specific toxic person in mind. So whenever I was looking at it, I wasn't thinking of like the happy relationship I wanted to have. I was thinking of the toxic relationship I was dealing with. So the board wasn't serving me. It had to take me being aware of, where am I and where do I want to be? What healing needs to take place? What inspired action? What type of action am I going to take that feels good for me to get from
Absolutely.
point A to point B? You know, there's
Yeah.
so many layers to it. It's not a genie in a bottle. Now, I am a spiritual person. I believe that God is supporting me and there's miracles happen, and I leave room for that to happen, right? I know that I
Mm-hmm.
am supported in many, many, many ways. So in a sense, there is this like sense of magic to it. But the part that I have to do is align myself to being able to receive those blessings when they come.
That's very important, and I love when you say you have to leave room open for it to happen, because oftentimes we surround ourselves with negative people who really don't understand our vision because they don't see it for themselves. And
Mhm.
sometimes we let these toxic people around us to discourage us from where we want to go. For
Yeah.
example, if you have a vision board and
Mhm.
someone doesn't understand what your vision board's all about, they're going to either suck their teeth or they're going to roll their eyes. Oh, one of those gimmicks again. And what does that do to you? What does that put in, and what energy does that come that puts around you? So not only working within yourself, but you have to work all around you, those who you choose to be with, those who are surrounding you. You know, family, sometimes you have some toxic family members. When to take a distance, knowing that it's okay to be distant from those type of people, but you want to make room for yourself and where you want to go in order to position yourself for your vision.
Yeah, boundaries are important. You know, you can't share your vision with just anybody. You know,
No.
my great grandmother used to say, like, if you have this like wish or dream, just don't tell people. And it's true. You're creating a boundary. There are people who will project their own insecurities onto you, and there's
Mm-hmm.
also people who will mirror to you your own insecurities. Right?
Right.
They'll say something to you that you may be feeling on the inside, but you're not saying to yourself. And the reason that when they say it, you feel like, oh, that sting,
Mm-hmm.
it's something in you that's calling to be healed. Like that's your insecurity. I tell people all the time, like if you go outside and the sky is blue and someone's like, oh, the sky is purple, and you're like, what the heck? You're not gonna get upset because you clearly see that the sky is not purple. But if someone
Right.
says to you, oh, you can't do that, and you feel, oh my God, maybe I can't,
Maybe not. Right.
that is they're pointing out to you an insecurity, and that there's nothing wrong with that. Now you're like, oh damn, when like they said I can't do that, I felt insecure. That's a sign to me that I need to heal that part of me, because if they feel like that's not possible for them, that's their problem. But if it comes out of their mouth and it makes me feel some type of way about myself,
Mhm.
now that's something within me that I need to heal.
And you also talk about your calendar. Can you explain to us the importance of having a calendar with us at all times to write things down and to help us with our goals?
Yeah, so I have a free calendar on my website, theyearoftheunicorn.com. And I created it because when I decided that resolutions were outdated, and I was
Hmm.
like, okay, I want to help people create a visual, kind of like a vision board, where every
Right.
month they can see this is either my theme for the year or my word for the month. And it could be kind of a guide for the energy that you want to call into your life for that time. So if you feel like writing things down and seeing it visually really, really helps you, I think having a calendar, making that intention, setting that goal, and seeing it every day, not only does it get into your subconscious, but it just, you keep track of where you're going, where you've been, and what you want to call into your life.
And another thing too, it's like a daily affirmation. Like Monday is this, Tuesday I'm going to do this,
Mhm.
Wednesday I'm going to work out, Thursday I'm going to call and inspire someone. Just a daily affirmation of what you want to do each and every day, so that way you can keep the momentum going, because we can easily get discouraged. We can easily fall back to our old ways, but we just got to know that it's not going to be done overnight, but you can and you will be able to move forward the way that you want to, because there's something about, you know, just jumping and taking a leap of faith. Once we see the progress, it is hard for us to turn back. And I think, Candice, what you're doing is wonderful. You inspired me for the Year of the Unicorn. I've learned a lot about you. As we conclude our interview, how can we apply what we learned in 2020 into 2021, given the fact that it was a crazy year within itself?
Yeah, I think applying to what you learned in 2020, to
Yeah,
2021,
tongue twister.
a lot of 20s to say, is it goes back to that awareness, right? We all
Mhm.
had different lessons. We all had some of the same lessons, and we all had different lessons during this time. We all had a different experience with it. I think that sitting with yourself again, with the journaling or the meditating, and asking yourself, how did I feel in 2020? What was my life like, right? Is this in alignment with what I want in 2021? And when you sit with yourself and you're aware and you reflect on all of those things, you're able to have a clearer path for moving forward in 2021. So if I felt like this and I don't want to, I want to pick the opposite of that. And I want to feel like
Right.
2021. But I think the biggest takeaway is just to be aware of what's going on with you as an individual, not what your family wants from you, not in your relationship, not your society, like what resonates with you. Because nothing mattered in 2020, right?
Right.
At the end of the day,
Exactly.
we learned that we have to be happy with ourselves. And let's carry that into 2021 by giving ourselves space to be aware of what resonates with us and what doesn't resonate with us. And as long as we keep that awareness of what's going on with us, we'll be able to make the decisions to make this year better than last year.
And you know what, Candice, as you talk with me here on this interview, the only thing I can get from it is dare to dream. You give me the opportunity to dream and act on that dream, because the Year of the Unicorn is all about dare to dream. I dare you to dream and ask for what you want. I dare you to go forward and act on your dreams, because, the sky, they say the sky's the limit. But what 2020 has taught us is, where do we go from here? You want to be an entrepreneur? Go for it. You want to be the next state rep in your town? Go for it. You want to be the a next motivational speaker? Go for it. Dare to dream. And I think that's what 2020 has taught me. Where do we go from here? You can go wherever you want to go. And I think that as we start our new year in 2021, it is up to us to take the step and make the right choices that will benefit us and no one else. Too much of worrying about what the next person is doing and what they think about me, but it's my time. It's now for me to choose. It's my choice. It's my time to be happy. And
Yeah.
I think that, you know, given the fact that we've experienced so many things in 2020, I think it's very fair for us to say, I choose me.
Yes. Be selfish.
Be selfish. It's okay to be selfish.
It is.
And we know that tomorrow's not promised to us. Let me do every single thing that I wanted to do because I don't know when my time is up. So you know, thank you again, Candice, for sharing the year of the unicorn because it tells me dare to dream. Tamisha, dream and act on it. And can you please share your social media platform and website where people can learn more about the year of the unicorn?
Yeah, first I want to thank you for this because this is exciting. And also, you inspire me. You go after so much, and I'm actually doing it. And I'm
You
like,
know,
geez.
this is kind of like my therapy session and learning from others and helping others because this platform is all about educating, providing resources, and helping everyone in their community to make a change on another level. So I thank you.
Yeah, I love it. So yeah, you can find me on Instagram at DitaJ89. That's DITAJ89. And on the website, theyearoftheunicorn.com. That's where I have my blog, the links to my video and my courses, the free calendar. That's a free download to anybody who wants it. Yeah, those are two places that you can find me right now. DitaJ89 on Instagram, The Year of the Unicorn. The Year of the Unicorn is also on YouTube, and Dita J89 is also on TikTok. So those are the places.
And don't forget, you also are on Facebook.
Oh, I am on Facebook. Yeah, I have to make it easier for people to find me on Facebook. Right now, it's Candice Jackson, which is so. I bet there's a million of us out there. So the Year of the Unicorn does have a page on Facebook, but right now it's operating out of Candice Jackson on Facebook.
Thank you so much, Candice. Happy New Year again. I wish you nothing but the best. And may the year of the unicorn bring nothing but progress, success, motivation for young women like me. Thank you for tuning in for
I
Voice of Reason.
appreciate you.
Okay, I'm your host, Tamisha Civil. Thank you for tuning in, Voice of Reason Boston.